everybody, welcome to New Super Mario Brothers for DS.
Yeah, we got the Virtual Console version here on the
Wii U.
Wii U, yeah.
Yeah, and I actually really like DS games on the Wii U because you can kind of like use the second, like the gamepad is the second screen. And actually, Game Boy Advance games work really good on the Wii U because they blow up nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, okay, so guys, we've had like a bit of a rough session here, where like neither of us are feeling particularly on, and so
nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
And so I feel like we we wanted to pick something that's just like really super easy where we can just kind of put our brains in our back pockets so we can maybe like try to talk more now that we've kind of like talked out our frustration with each other about the rough session that we've had. So I decided, I was like looking through the games I have in the Wii U and I'm like, oh, okay, I've got the original New Super Mario Brothers.
Everyone near the castle is like 2 pixels tall.
And particularly with New Super Mario Brothers U Ultimate, whatever the
Deluxe.
Yeah, Deluxe. With that having been out recently, it might be fun to kind of revisit the original here. The original new.
The original 13-year-old brand new Super Mario.
A title that I knew was going to be an issue the second they chose it. I hope that they're done calling things new.
They still have the new Nintendo 3DS on market.
Right.
So,
but I'm hoping, we're now a couple of presidents later since that decision was last made. I know, but just trying to have a conversation here. This is the Let's Be Sad About Iwata episode.
Yeah. This power only came back in like Mario Kart Wii, right?
Something like that.
I know that the scope of it is kind of limited in its usage, but it is a cool looking power up, yeah. But I understand why they don't use it that often. It kind of negates the whole point of level design. But man, it feels good. So I don't know if we clarified this, but Kyle's the one playing right now?
I'm the one playing right now.
So this is the first time that flagpoles came back, right?
Yeah. Because, like, it seemed to be...
They're pulling a Sonic and going straight for nostalgia.
Yeah, it seemed to be his desire to make a new Mario that kind of, like, had a bunch of the stuff that they'd come up with since, but, like, okay, what if the Mario before this was Mario 1, pretty much?
So, wait, what was the red block that you got the turtle shell from?
Oh, that was a variable block that would...
Oh, it travels through the map?
Yeah.
Okay. I like how they got like a cartoon crash symbol for the stomp attack here. Is that for all the stomp attacks or only when you're wearing the shell? I think it's for all of them, right?
I think it's for all of them.
Yeah. They probably changed that sound for the Wii and Wii U ones. Now, Mario's the only thing that's polygonal here, right?
Polygonal.
It's a legit word.
But isn't it polygonal?
Polygonal makes more sense, but maybe you're right. Wow, okay. Speaking of negating level design here. Oh, this turned into a mobile infinite runner.
If only they had a Mario Infinite Runner on mobile.
Yeah, what would they call that, Kyle?
New Super Mario Run.
Yeah. Oh, you don't actually pass by a physical flagpole. That's on the touch screen, though, that we're not recording. Right?
Right.
Yeah.
Although, right now I'm underground and you can't see where I am. So I'll just get out of here.
Whoops.
That doesn't happen too often, though.
Yeah, if only we had like a 3DS recorder, we'd be doing both screens at the same time. Although I think you can change the layout on this, can't you? To get both screens on here.
You can.
Then I could just blow up the important screen in editing.
It would also be far less pleasurable for me, the player. Like, if it happened more often, it would be a concern.
Yeah. I was kind of disappointed that Sonic Rush or Advanced didn't show up on the Virtual Console for some reason.
Oh, yeah, that's like one of the best Sonic games.
Advanced or Rush?
Rush. I haven't really played the Advanced ones, even though they look good.
1 and 2 are pretty good. 3 gets a little too heavy on the giving no heads up on everything. Everything's just a death trap. Plus, it had this weird gimmick where you were playing 2 characters at once. Kind of like a less frustrating Chaotix, but still not great.
Oops.
Ugh. I don't know. Your mileage may vary.
I'm running out of advantages to being a turtle.
That's a sentence that someone has said yet. Well, there you go. You said it, and
I just used the touchscreen to get that fire flower that I had in storage.
Now, the coins look like they're CGI models, right? Or the big collectible coins.
Well, I can't tell what's like a CG model, what's like maybe a pixelated CG model, and like what's done.
Oh, that was a millisecond.
Well, that's today. That's our lives today. Like, I think there's some level of like pre-rendered Donkey Kong Country cheating in here.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Now, this might be a contentious issue, but it seems like in the original Super Mario Brothers, you get to a castle at the end, and that's supposed to be like a checkpoint, the end of the level. And then when you start the next level, you begin at the castle. Mm-hmm. And that's how they achieved cohesion in that original game, which is actually pretty clever for its time, to have like they're separate levels, but they're interconnected. This is their world. And in this game, it's more like every level ends with a flagpole because the original did, regardless of purpose.
Yep.
And I don't know, that's just a thing that kind of happens with all sorts of, not just this, but all sorts of reboots of sorts, where they do something because it happened in the original, regardless
and
of
not
context.
because it makes sense now.
Right. Like, I'm trying to think of other examples.
You'd almost think there was some much maligned half-assedness about these new Super Mario Brothers games.
And they're not bad.
No, they're not bad.
But I think Super Mario Maker has kind of highlighted how autopilot you can be making one.
Right.
Like, more work probably goes into the engine than actually designing the levels. I'm probably way off since I'm not a game designer, just like how people tend to be way off when they're
talking about animation. Yeah.
Right. Like, animation is our wheelhouse. So we're pretty used to hearing people like, why does Rebecca Sugar draw all the characters off model?
Personally.
Yeah. That's just the sort of thing that happens. But, like, I don't know. I feel like growing up in the 90s, a lot of media started being more open about the nerds making said media being okay with talking about how they're feeling maligned, and someday our day will come. And then like the 2000s happened, where nerds are finally in the spotlight and they're shown themselves to be just as awful as anyone else. Didn't want that block anyway. Oh. Oh yeah, instead of the Koopa Kids, it's just Bowser Jr. this whole time, right? Although the Koopa Kids came back in Wii and Wii U, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone's confused about, are the Koopa Kids Bowser's kids, or is it just Bowser Jr.? It's like, no, but why do you care so much about lore? It's Super Mario Brothers.
Well, only because they give them answers. Like, nobody would be talking about whether or not the Koopalings are Bowser's children if Miyamoto didn't say something.
Well, we got halfway through this level. You want to do another episode? Or how are you feeling?
Let's finish this episode. Let's finish this level and then do another episode.
Sure.
We seem a little bit more sprightly.
Yeah, communication is important. Well, that is like the opposite power that you need to get in there. So, I don't know how open you want to be about this, but we did talk about how we were having some problems. Ugh.
Well, now this is an issue. John, talk.
Look at that score go up, folks.
Well, I just screwed up the thing I was supposed to do down here anyway.
Man, if only you could have seen it.
John, you were saying words.
Was I?
You were. Nanu.
Well, I got sidetracked, so...
Well, you were saying that, like, you didn't know whether or not I wanted to... whether or not I wanted to, talk about this personal thing.
Look at the rainbow out there.
Speaking of things you can't... Oh, that's pretty. Speaking of things you can't see on this podcast, that's a pretty rainbow.
It's not a podcast.
Visual podcast. I don't... You're used to podcasting. We're still pretty new to Let's Playing.
I'm just gonna go back to Mario if everyone's gonna be mean to me.
Oh, whoa, okay. So, going back to what I was talking about, it's important to talk about your feelings, everyone. Because, we were having some frustrations. Like, we weren't having any technical problems this time, but the technical problem was inside of us the whole time. We weren't really feeling on, like you said.
Yeah.
And, we weren't feeling bad. I don't know if you were really feeling tired or anything, because Kyle just finished up some freelance work.
Yeah. The first week of some freelance work, and it's like, the first week of this freelance work is kind of the most intense part. It's like, this particular freelance work, I am, like, helping with something that they're having a problem with, and it's kind of, let's find out if Kyle is the answer to this particular problem, and so far the answer seems to be yes. But I needed to get through that first week of establishing kind of work on this board to, like, see if I was going to be the right guy, and it seems like yes.
And that's pretty cool.
But yeah, that was kind of a week of very little leisure time. Very little time not storyboarding, which is something I'm sure you know well, John, as a fellow career storyboard artist and someone who worked on season 1 of Mighty Magiswords. It was a problem I tried to fix for everybody on Magiswords, and for some folks it worked, and for some folks it didn't. John, were you working much in the way of, like, beyond a work week by the time we got to the end of season 2?
You mean taking stuff home?
Yeah.
I tried not to, mainly because I didn't have Storyboard Pro at home, but I have gotten that since I left, actually, so I could take tests.
Darn it. Yeah.
It's like $1,000, but unlike Adobe products, you have the option to buy it outright instead of just subscribing to it. So now it's mine forever, at least.
Right.
and it's worth the investment if you can.
But the point is that like try to change some practices on there so that people would like not do as much work that I was going to throw out, or have to change.
So that was. I don't know how much you want to get into it, but the first season of Magistores, like the first half of it, part of the pacing problem was that we were creating like a half hour's worth of material.
Yes.
Everyone was overworking themselves because I think,
particularly on like, what a problem episode Grup Jam was. Did you help? Were you part of the cleanup crew on that one?
I think that was mostly like. I know Luke was. I think was Clay.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
Luke definitely was.
Yeah, Luke definitely.
And then Ken and I did a lot of it ourselves.
Yeah. And that's not to throw the artist under the bus about it. It's just sometimes you get stuff and.
It was also part of a problem we were realizing we had where, like, when we were like establishing what this show was, trying to have freelancers who weren't there was a huge issue.
Yeah, it's almost like sending the storyboards overseas and the animation.
Right.
In some weird sense. I mean, it was another instance of like it wasn't only that the storyboard artists were making too much material, but also how many pages were the outlines at first?
They were very long.
Yeah. So it was a learning process for everyone.
Yeah. And so by the time we got to season 2, like, it became, okay, 1-page outlines, but you have to stick to them. Instead of like throwing out all the material and writing a new thing out of it.
I think that's a much better compromise. Like, I don't know, when the original outlines were very overly thorough.
Yeah, and they were also a lot of times just intended to be suggestions.
Yeah.
Rather than exactly what the gags needed to be.
Right. But brevity and specificity actually end up producing much better material.
Yeah, and also part of it was like we didn't know what was required, what the network was requiring of us as writers. Me and Rich.
Well, you got some tips from. Did you get it from Haley Mancini or someone else at Cartoon Network about the brevity of outlines?
Well, I'd found out that Powerpuffs was working with 4-page outlines.
Yeah.
And we were, doing like 7 or 8-page outlines at that point. And I was like, we were, had just about gotten it down to 4 when, the network started wanting something different from us and asked us to get down to 1. And we did, and that was, that part was good for everybody, but not everything that I had, like, set into place was easy for everybody. But, for some folks in particular, like, the new practices I put into place really helped. Like, I think
season 2 is, I think, very strong as a result. Like, everyone figured out their place. You grew as a showrunner, and
although I do have to say, like, stepping back from it a little bit, like, I'm starting to feel a little bit more strongly. Like, okay, there's no way in which season 2 isn't the best looking part of Magistores, but like, I think we were really good at the end of season 1, and like, while I'm very happy with how season 2 came out, like, there were times when we were trying to play up the differences between Vampire Prohias so much that we like lost a little, like they were sometimes overly petty or like
in season 2, you mean?
Yeah. And so, like, I was like reviewing the season 1 stuff while I was on Hulu while I was waiting for the season 2 stuff to show up there, like looking at that late season 1 stuff because I wanted hey, all the late season 1 stuff came up while you're waiting for season 2. Here's some good episodes to check out. And I was reviewing that stuff, and I'm like, A lot of this is really the sweet spot, like
where they're on the same page more often.
Well, not only are they on the same page, like, they were on the same page the whole season, but like that was kind of a sweet spot for what they were like and what the show was like, I thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whoa. Okay.
I was like, wait, is there a platform for that rope? No, it's just a rope. It's fine.
Okay. We're good. We're all good.
We're dead.
But there's a checkpoint.
Hey, this episode's very long. Do you want to talk about anything else before we're done with it?
I feel like we've already gone long. Why not beat this world?
Okay, cool.
Well, we got very real talk in this episode.
That's fine. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're not feeling funny, then...
Then die in a fire.
You know what? I need to take a picture of this rainbow outside the window. It looks magnificent.
It is pretty gorgeous. Did it rain today?
It got...
Misty?
Yeah, it got misty. My camera sucks. I don't think it's going to pick up on mine. Well, we can try to take a picture with your phone after we're done recording this
Or maybe
episode.
everyone on Facebook will have taken a picture of it by the time we're done.
And then you'll have to look up to, wait, when did they record this one? Because it's coming out in, like, April? Or who knows when. So, yeah, here in Southern California, winter is the rainy season. So, I know Charles Martinet is always Mario and Luigi, but whoops. But
I was trying to like flip in the air like you do in the other new Super Mario Brothers games.
Yeah, that didn't come until the Wii, and even then it was mapped to shaking the Wii mode, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you played Deluxe?
Yeah. And like I had already beat it on the Wii U, but
Yeah.
So I've been playing it pretty much entirely as Toadette because I can.
So pretty much the whole Wii U library, or at least the first party one, is going to come to the Switch, it seems.
Hope so.
Or at least...
I've heard rumors about Pikmin, so I'd love to see that come back as well.
Alright, so we're in Desert World. So...
Yes.
So see you next time.
See you next time.